You see him, and without further ado, I got today my man, former WBO lightweight champ, 2012 Olympian, national champ, combat veteran, all around good guy, Jamel Herring. Appreciate you joining us, man.
All up, bro. Good to see you, man. Good to see you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And I mean, look, there's so like I was just telling our fans that are joining us in the chat. We'll be touching on a number of topics, Jamel. We'll
Okay.
be pausing in between some of those topics to engage them, share some of their questions, their thoughts. So that should be interesting. I invited all on, the good and the bad, and we'll talk about it. But the
Now,
first thing we got to talk about, champ, is you. We got to talk about you. So
okay.
last time I spoke with you, it was right before your Nick Molina fight. So it was right around like Veterans Day last year.
Right.
And obviously a lot has happened since then. So, you had a nice outing against Nick Molina, KO, you got the dub, and then we went over to Australia, and maybe didn't get the outcome we were expecting. So let's talk about that a little bit.
Oh man. Yeah. I'm still waiting on the footage. I've been waiting on the footage for months. People that watched it, they felt that I should have got the nod. Even people over there in Australia, but I've been around for a while, so nothing really surprises me. And I wasn't really stressing it because I don't feel like it really affected me in any way, negatively or whatever. But it is what it is with boxing. But it just sucks because I was trying to make a stand. Like it should be fine for Americans to travel wherever and feel like they still get a fair shake. You know what I'm saying? So when that had happened, I was it just I felt like I felt like it was a blow for boxing, but I didn't like I said I ain't really take it to heart like that. I got over it the second week or so. So you know what I mean?
Yeah, nah, for sure. And I know you were on a path, obviously a comeback, right? You had a certain like layout that you were looking to see happen, right? I think we
Right.
talked a little about maybe Cordina being a potential opponent. I know you were looking to get into the UK scene a little bit more, right?
Mhm.
And maybe work those angles. Where are you at now? After that outcome, obviously, and not going the way that, it should have went. Where are you now? What's your
I mean,
path forward?
I'm still in a good place. I speak to my promoter, Lou DeBella, every other week or so because Lou works for everyone out there. Lou's a New Yorker, so we just got that vibe. We just got that vibe and that lingo together. So he's always keeping me updated. In terms of fights, I went to Qatar over September, and the only reason why I went because we was planning to have a fight around that time frame. Around matter of fact, I think this month or next month. So if that was the case, I wasn't gonna go overseas. And the fight was with Mark Castro. Mark Castro's team had reached out, and they had reached out to me before I went over to Australia, but I was like I said, I was already tied up with that fight. So I guess they came back around to it over the summertime frame. And I was putting up the trip to Qatar off. And the trip was, to go help out and speak with other military veterans in the Air Force. So that was what the trip was for. And I'm all for, supporting the troops and looking out for my own. So, but I said, this fight had popped up first. Let me see what happens with with the communication on making the fight or whatever. And I just never heard back from him. So at a certain time frame, I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna go over here and see what's up with in Qatar and leave it from there. But I like I said, I haven't. That was one thing. I think Mickey and also Mickey Roman from Mexico. His team had reached out about fighting, but then that I don't know what happened with that either. So yeah. But again, so I've been in places where, I had opportunities, knocking at the door and such and so, whatever, whether they were big or small. But so that's where I really am right now in boxing. But right now I'm just chilling right now, man. I'm just enjoying time with the family, being around my friends and everyone out that I haven't really got to see so much because I was always on the go and always on the move.
Yeah, nah, well-deserved time for sure, But before we talk a little bit of boxing, I just gotta ask, Qatar, man, was that your first time there?
Yeah, that was my first time. That was my first time. Of course, I've been to Iraq and everywhere else out in that area, but no, that was my first time. It was a good trip. It was nice. It was nice out there. So and then and we did a good job because I was they wanted me to actually referee some of the amateur fights out that way with the troops. So I was basically I refereed I think like 20 fights that night, but it
20
was a
fights in a
yeah
night?
it was a good time. It was a good time and to the point where I think they're going to come back in March. So we'll see what happens then when March comes around again.
Dope, dope. I mean, Qatar's definitely got to be different than Iraq, huh?
Yeah, yeah, definitely, man. At first, I ain't gonna lie, I was skeptical, bro. I ain't gonna lie to you. I was like, what you even want to go back over there, the Middle East? I want to go. You know, I wasn't really for that first, but I was like, nah. It was like, nah, champ. You know, it's different a lot from when you was around at that time. A lot.
Yeah.
Oh
Nah, that's dope. Yeah, for sure, man. Not going in combat boots must be a different experience, right?
yeah, of course, of course.
Yeah, for sure, man. And look, like, so from what I'm hearing that you're saying, it doesn't sound like you're in a rush, but you're not done with boxing. Your intention is potentially to fight again and continue down the path that you were going.
I mean, I just feel like whatever comes up, it just for me, it has to make sense. You know, like you see me now, I don't put on 30, 40 pounds like that. You know, I probably weigh like around right now, maybe like 147 max. Still can make 130, 135, whatever. But it just for me, it just has to make sense. Like I'm not really pushing for it. I'm just sitting back and I speak to like I said again, I speak to Lou, speak to my man JC and everyone on that side about everything, just about every day or so. So whatever, whatever comes up, comes up. But for me, it just has to make sense. It has to I'm not in it for just the cash grab, anything like that. I'm fine. I'm fine where I'm at in life. But like, it just has to for me, it's more like adding more to legacy more than just picking up a paycheck.
Yeah. Do you feel fulfilled? Like if that was your last fight, are you fulfilled with everything you've done? I mean, you've had a hell of a career.
I mean, I was just thinking before I got on here, like I see my man Ben. Shout out to my man Ben, FightHype. I remember like when I first came on the scene after the Olympics in 2012, and Ben, I was talked to Ben and like they could tell you like I was the least expected to do anything up that roster. I mean, we had a lot of great fighters. You got Errol Spence, Jose Ramirez, Jojo Diaz, and the list goes on. You know what I mean? Marcus Brown. But so when you look at all those guys, I was pretty much and I wasn't really known in the amateur scene at that time either. So I was basically the least expected to do anything. So when you said, "Do I feel fulfilled?" Yeah, but I always feel like there's always room for more. But again, I think I did I overachieved than what many thought I can do to begin with. So I'm not mad.
Yeah, nah, listen. If you don't know Jamel Herring, you should get familiar. The man has done a lot on a lot of different levels. And yeah, hell of a career. And if you have another fight, we're always gonna support you here on Fight Hype, man. Hopefully that's the case. If that's what you want, champ, and you get the fight that you want, for
Oh yeah, no,
sure.
I was gonna tell my man Ben like y'all need to start a damn podcast or something, man. Yeah,
What, what you think this
y'all
is,
been around
Jamel?
forever. I'm like, yo. But everybody was telling me anyway, yo, you gotta get into the podcast scene, man. Y'all say it, but I'm just like, I'd rather do the people that I know and rock with. You know what I'm saying? Like I can sit here and talk boxing all day. So when you hit me up, I ain't mind. Especially when you said fight hype. We like again, shout out to Ben. They been my, day one since I came into the, saying the pro scene. So I'm always grateful for the platforms, you know what I mean? Because again, platforms like this one, it just whether they want to look at it negative or positive, the people who's watching, it gets you out there regardless, you know what I mean? So and more people definitely tune in. So they said shout out to Fight Hype and everyone else that gave me, saying that gave me a room just to get to know me better and speak my mind.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. We've started this segment, this podcast, no holds bar, and the intention of it, right, is
Right.
to talk about whatever's hot in boxing right now, get your perspective. But we're working on some other segments, and we'll
Yeah.
definitely talk offline, Jamal. I mean, shit,
Oh, yeah,
come
no,
on,
no, yeah, me. Like I
yeah,
said, you hit me up, bro.
your
It's all
perspective
love.
is golden. We love
Yeah,
it. So no doubt, no doubt. Let's talk about one of them topics. Let's get right into it.
yeah.
I
That's
mean,
about to. Yeah,
look.
let's get to that for sure.
So we gonna set it
It's
off.
been a crazy few weeks.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And there's a number of places we could go. I mean, we just had a big fight on Saturday, but I'm going to start it off with probably what most fans want to hear from you, right? Up first in terms of topics. Tank Roach, man. So look, my first question for you on this whole thing is twofold. What's your thoughts on this fight, and is it pay-per-view worthy? Do you think this is a fight that's pay-per-view worthy?
It depends for me with that question because of who Tank is. It depends on the price. I look at it like that because you see pay-per-view prices are not always the same across the board. So I think I have to say like that. But I know a lot of people are going to disagree and say that it's not. But again, you got to understand who's the headliner of the card and the platform that he's been using for the past a couple of years now. So I like for most fighters, there's no going backwards unless you take a loss. So for me, it depends on the pricing and the card though. Like I said, I'm all for the card too. They got a good lineup. that people are going to sit down for and tune in, yeah, I'm all for it. And I know a lot of people always say the old school method was, it's not about the card itself. It's always the headline for the pricing. But again, for me, if I'm gonna pay for something, I want to make sure that I watch, every bit of fight and get everything out of it that I'm paying for.
And so with that being said, if you're paying for this card, is a Tank Lamont Roach fight for you worth it to purchase pay-per-view, especially if it's at the
For
price
me,
point?
you know what? For me, because me and Tink have it'll be a common opponent. You know what I mean? So I'm always interested to see how others fare and how and also on Lamont's defense, how much he's learned from, when we had locked, matched up and things like that. And I know Lamont's a different fighter. I mean, he's a world champion now. So shout out to Lamont Roach for still pushing to achieve his dream. So, plus I came in the amateur scene with these guys. Like I said, I know Lamont since he was about 15, 15, 16 years old. So me and Lamont and Tank, I know Tank he was a junior in the amateur. So I watched them both coming up, in that same timeline. So and plus they're from they're from the same neck of the woods. So for me, it's always about the story. For me, it starts with the story. So I hit up Leonard on Twitter yesterday, like, yo, when the press conference, I know the press conference is gonna, it's definitely gonna sell. But like again, I'm just a different, but I'm a different type of fan in boxing. So that's just my preference. Everybody's got their preference on if the fight is good or not. But for me, like I said, I just know there's a lot of history between those two guys.
Yeah, and everybody's well aware that you fought Lamont. You obviously defeated Lamont. Can you talk a little bit about the other fight on the card, our headliner in Tank? You've done work in the past in that area, the DMV area. Like you said, you got history going back with Tank till he was 15.
Right.
What was your experience like just being around Tank, him working with you? Have y'all ever worked in the ring? Any of that stuff?
We worked in the same gym, but we never got to, like, we never sparred. Like me and Lamont sparred at least probably 2, 3 times before we fought each other. So we were very familiar with each other. But I never got to spar. I never spar with Tank. He used to spar with, like, Rashid Warren and everyone else that's come out there with around that time. But me and Tank, we again, I think there's a huge poster, and it's about like 30, 40 of us in the poster at Headbangers Gym in DC. And it's me, Tank, and like a lot of the guys it was just one big camp. So we was around each other a lot throughout the years.
Did you see in Tank then what we all know about him now, which is, he's got the power. He's obviously now he's one of the top fighters in the game. But did you see that back then?
Oh yeah, definitely. And like Tank, he was definitely like, when he was younger, he was like he was passionate. Like they call him a hothead, but he take those those fights very seriously even as a kid. So I seen it then, you know what I mean, and I just knew, just like I said, his backstory. So you pretty much knew, why he's to go so hard and and use boxing as his gateway.
So you said you sparred with Lamont like 2 or 3 times before y'all fought. How did those sparring sessions go in comparison to how the actual fight played out?
I mean, it was good work. It was good work. I don't think, yeah, I ain't gonna get too deep in, but it was good work. It was good work. I remember when Lamont used to always be with his uncle, rest in peace, Boogaloo. You know what I'm saying? Boogaloo was a very technical fighter. That's why you see Lamont now. He's very technical, and he got that from his uncle. But yeah, we used to always, like, Lamont was always low key, the same way he is now, like low key demeanor, quiet. But like when he get in that ring, he gonna try to, he gonna give it his all and turn it up.
So it's safe to say that when you went into that fight, you had confidence.
Yeah, I mean, I had confidence because I had, like I say, I had familiar, what I'm saying, I was very familiar with him. So of course I had confidence, but again, I knew what was on the line, so I couldn't get too cocky about it. You know what I mean? And I can see I got hurt in that 11th with a good shot. So again, that's what I'm saying. Like I knew that going into it, like he was still dangerous. Like again, at the time undefeated, first world title shot. You know what I mean. So of course, he had that. He felt that he was the better man that night too, though. So of course I had to go in there, and take it very seriously. Even now, when I read the little back and forth between him and Tank on Twitter or whatever, I see that he's serious. You know what I mean? And like, and people in the comments, they're gonna say whatever, but like I know that, like, he definitely is taking his fight. He's not looking at it as a payday.
What do you think Lamont, based on your fight with him, What do you remember that he did in that fight that he would maybe need to improve on in this fight versus Tank?
He got to just start a little faster. You got to start a little faster because Tank gonna take his time at times too. So you gotta take advantage of those rounds. You probably people said that it was like that in the Frank Martin fight. Even maybe I think even like when he fought Rollies and a few other guys, but like Tank he takes his time at first. He start he reads you. So he's down like I said, he's downloading everything that you're doing. So he's reading you. It's not like he's being lackadaisical, but again his activity may not be the highest in those first couple of rounds. So that's also an issue with Lamont. Lamont sometimes could start slow because if you look at the fight with us, I kind of picked it up my punch count that's what I was keeping track of. I was like, okay. I had just the old school mentality. If he throw four, if you watch it back, I'm like, if he throwing four punches, two punches, I'm throwing four or five. You know what I mean? I'm trying to, and maybe all of them won't land, but one or two of these gonna have to get through and land somewhere. That's why I was going up and down to the body and everything. So, again, you just got to start a little faster.
What do you think Tank needs to be maybe leery of, in terms of Lamont?
Um, Lamont, like somebody asked me recently, like, what can you tell Tank? You know what I mean about your experience with Lamont. And I was honest. I was like, there's not really much I think I can tell Tank about Lamont because those guys, again, they had tons. They had like with 3 amateur fights, whatever. And I'm pretty sure a ton of sparring throughout the years since they was younger. So, like, I think for Tank, he knows he's probably going to try to expose something that I may not have seen in my fight with Lamont, or none of us may have seen, and vice versa. So there's not really much I can really say for Tank. I just know that like I know how when Tank starts talking, because he don't really say much either these days. When he starts talking, I know it's giving him that itch that like now he wants to go there and improve something. You see what he said last time. What did he just say recently? Like, are you asking for it now? Something like that. Something to that extent. So like when I see like I know these dudes, I'm like, okay, I know that right there, that got him that pep.
I was talking to Danny Garcia like a week ago. We were doing
Right.
one of these no holds bars, and I was asking him. I forget what the topic was, but I know that his answer was basically history, right? It was Devin Ryan. We talked Devin Ryan, and he said history. He said sometimes when you have history with a guy, it don't matter how many guys that guy's beaten and maybe how favored he is to beat you. If y'all fought in the past and you know something about him, it could change how you approach the fight or give you a level of confidence that could take you to victory.
I
You
mean,
think that history like
prime
favors
example.
Lamont?
I'm gonna say right here, prime example is Pacquiao Marquez. Pacquiao was going through everybody, but it seemed like every time he came across Marquez, it was always something new. You learn something new about both of the two. You know what I mean? So I know exactly what Danny mean by that. So of course, yeah. Like again, Pacquiao was pound for pound number one, knocking out everybody. But when it came down to those Marquez fights, it was like, man, he had to really dig down and fight, and vice versa with Marquez.
Yeah. So sometimes that history does play into it, right?
Yeah.
Break it down for me. How does this fight play out? Tank Roach, how do you see it going?
Of course, you gonna go with the favorite. You know what I'm saying? Which is Tank with the fight, and it may end late into the fight. But again, I think Lamont's gonna be very technical. I think what Lamont also is gonna do, as like they always say, you gotta go out there and earn that respect. Early in the fight, because if you don't, Tank's a bully. He's gonna step to you, so you gotta basically hold your ground but still be smart, but he got to be technical and he got to be, got to keep his defense tight.
If you was putting your money on the table, you think Tank wins by KO? You think it's a decision? What do you think?
I think Tank can win by KO, but I think
Yeah.
it'll probably come late from accumulations. But Lamont is actually sturdy. He's a sturdy dude. He's a sturdy dude. But again, I think, like I said, if but it could turn out into like a fight like I had a Pitbull Cruz fight. Turn out just technical fight because that was actually a technical fight too, and it went the distance. So like I said again, I think if anything happens, it happens late. It happens late into the fight, late or goes and it somehow goes to the distance.
Yeah. Got you. And so, just on that topic, right? Just segueing, there's been controversy, right? People have been giving Tank flack. He's not
Right.
picking the right opponent, or maybe Lamont it's not on his level. He needs to look at a fighter of a different level as far as perception goes, right? But obviously, the one that people point out the most is Shakur Stevenson, right?
Shout out to
Another person. Go ahead. What were you gonna say, Jamal?
I said shout out to Shakur. I was just talking to him the other day, matter of fact.
Yeah, yeah. Shakur has his on that note, has he shared anything with you about how his recovery's going?
Nah, we don't. Yeah, we just laugh and clown about stupid shit sometimes, man. Like that's what people don't know. So like, we don't really. I didn't really even. I wasn't even really thinking about the whole thing. But I just know that he's obviously unavailable. So that goes into part. I was thinking about in my answer when he was asking about how people give Tank flack about who he's fighting. Like Shakur, he's out right now. You know what I mean? And even if he was, I think he already had. I don't know. I forgot the date, but he already had something scheduled anyways. And
Hmm.
everyone else seemed like they was tied up. Cepeda say
Loma didn't want to fight. He's probably
yeah,
retiring. As
that's what I'm
news.
saying. Yeah, Loma taking a year off, then it was taking a year off. Then it was like, he was thinking about retirement. So respect to him. I mean, he's done a lot in his own career and so it's his own right. Cepeda say he was taking some time off because his wife is suspecting, whatever. So like, if Tank want to stay, he want to stay active and busy throughout the year, he got to fight somebody. So I guess, and I thought, and for me, the only argument I have with that fight is I wish it would have been in the DMV area. I think it would have made more sense there. But
Oh, yeah,
you
it
know
would
what I
have been
mean?
dope.
That's my only argument with it. But again, if I miss anybody, sorry, but I feel like everybody else, that it was tied up. I mean, even my man Keyshawn Davis, but he got to get in the ring soon. So, and Keyshawn's been calling for a fight, as of recently, but with Tank. So, but everyone that's pretty much a notable name, at least in that division or in lightweight division, is pretty much tied up.
Yeah, no, Keyshawn has been calling for a fight with Tank, and not
Right.
to get too far on topic because I want to talk to you about Shakur, but just quickly, do you think that's too premature for him to be calling out Tank? And if it's not, do you think he presents any sort of problem that Tank hasn't seen before, wouldn't be
Of
able to deal
course,
with?
of course, of course, of course. He's an Olympian. He's an Olympian medalist, and you see Tyrant got him on the fast track. They got him on, you know what I mean? And he's stepping up against a guy now that people thought that beat Richardson, Rich is in his last outing, whatever. So
Richardson Hitchens. It took me like
Richardson, yeah,
3 years to learn
Richardson,
that
my
name.
bad, Richardson, yeah, yeah. So
It's a tough one.
yeah, too many. Yeah, my bad, Rich. That's why we just call him Rich. But nah, yeah, people was, that was people thought that was a controversial decision, whatever, and it was some flack that the dude was a good fighter and he should get more credit than what he's getting. So, credit to Keyshawn to be like, okay, I feel like this dude is good. I'm going there. I want to make a statement that I'm just level. So it starts with his next fight, in my opinion. If he's ready for that, that mountain at the top, whoever's up there at the top.
Yeah. And just kind of tying two things that you said together, especially for the fans. And obviously your opinion matters. And so, because you said earlier, look, because I actually said, hey, is that fight pay-per-view worthy? You said, look, a guy's not gonna take a step back unless he takes a loss, and he's already building on that, right?
Right.
And at the same time, he deserves he deserves the right to stay busy and fight somebody, right?
Right.
Because people aren't available doesn't mean that he shouldn't fight, is what I'm hearing, right? Lamont's available, it's a solid fight.
He's available.
Got
And,
you.
and again, honestly, if we look at it, with it being in Houston, either, some DMV is coming there or they definitely be watching it from their homes anyway. So, there's people gonna buy it. It's not gonna do the old school, of course, like I said, the old school Floyd numbers, but people gonna tune in.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Especially if when you start stacking that card, definitely.
Yeah. Yeah, we see names getting added every day. I see
Right,
it looks like they're gonna have Scooter on there. They're gonna have Cool Boy Steph on there,
right.
fighting Brandon Figueroa.
Rematch.
Yep, rematch. So I'm sure PBC is gonna make sure that card is as stacked as possible so that the fans get their money's worth out of it.
Right.
And it should be a good night. We'll see what happens.
But I respect
Hopefully,
y'all opinion. And whoever feel like otherwise, again, y'all opinion matters too. Because again, the fans, they do matter. And I feel like any fighter that says they don't care what the fans say, that I can't really. That's a lie, because whether it's negative or positive, it's gonna have some effect. Whether it has a small effect or a big effect on you, you go and look at it. Like, for instance, if your fans saying, "Okay, I need to step up," you like it's going at one point in time. It's gonna be like, you know what? Yeah, I definitely got to step up, because I definitely need to sell this next one. So you know what I mean. So fans, they do, you know, they do play a part. But again, same for the fans, like the more y'all complain about all things, also y'all still giving the light. You know what I mean? Y'all still giving the light, but people to get curious to see. Let me see what this is about, and you know, and it's still going to attract attention as well. So, but if you don't want to see it, just don't, you know, trust me. If it goes silent out there, people gonna look around like, yo, what's going on? We gotta fix the formula. We gotta do something. We gotta fix this.